OMG. Hi Kingdom, welcome back to another video. If you're new here, my name is Dishon King. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and turn on my post notifications so you don't miss out on any videos the second that they drop. So as you can tell already by the title of the video, my bills have been affected.
Your bills has been affected, young man.
Oh, Jesus.
And you need to let your bill collectors, your utilities workers know that you don't have the income coming in anymore.
Oh my goodness. Yes, ma'am.
So we can sit down and speak with your banker and let them know the changes of your income.
All jokes aside, I got fired from my job, and I'm going to be filling y'all in on just some things that have been going on in my life recently that are connected with that. I want to take you guys along a journey of just like my professional career. I feel as though I've experienced different things on how I should navigate the professional world in different job industries, and just kind of how things affect me as like a young Black man. We're gonna do a little nighttime skincare routine, get ready to go to bed with me type video. A lot of new products that I've been using lately that I'm excited to put y'all onto. If you're interested in any of the products that we talk about in this video, all of it will be linked down below in the description. Okay, so the first product that we're gonna be using tonight is the Bao Laboratory Ambrosia Deep Nurturing Ginseng Cleansing Balm. This is like an oil-based cleanser, but it's in a balm form. It's not like a clay texture at all. If you were to look at it, you would think it's a mud mask, but it's not. It's basically an oil-based balm that's used to remove any excess makeup or dirt and oil. It's like a pre-cleanser before you go in with your actual water-based cleanser. I think what I really like about this is the fact that the ingredient list is very, very small. Like honestly, this is the shortest ingredient list I've ever seen from a product, hands down. I'm gonna start with this and massage it into my skin. I like to let it sit for like a good 15-10 minutes, but as you can probably tell by the title of this video, I got fired from You would think this is not a laughing matter, but this is really comical for me. Laughter is my coping mechanism. I make everything into a damn joke. Like it is not that serious. I think what people forget, especially like corporate America, we're not slaves. And I'm gonna be speaking from like a young Black professional's perspective, okay? So you might be able to relate, you might not, but I'm just gonna be speaking from my experience. I'm gonna take it way back to when I first got my first job ever when I was 18 years old. I was a senior in high school. I knew I didn't want to have a job where I was getting paid minimum wage. I was living with a single parent, so I knew I had to be able to pay for the majority of my stuff, especially senior year when it comes to like cap and gowns, your graduation trip, your yearbook photos, and your senior pictures, all of that like senior year stuff. I knew my dad wouldn't be able to like afford to pay for all that stuff, so I had to be able to finance my own stuff my senior year. So I knew I didn't want to just get any old regular job just making minimum wage, but I was able to start working at Bed Bath & Beyond. It's so funny that Bed Bath & Beyond is now like low-key going out of business. And to keep it a buck with you, that's my lick back, because Bed Bath & Beyond was trifling. They were honestly low-key racist. So when I was at Bed Bath & Beyond, I was getting paid $9.50 an hour, which is good when you're in high school, because everybody else was getting paid like 8 bones at their, you know, minimum wage job. So I'm like, no. The downside about it was because I was in school from like 8:30 to like 3:30, so I couldn't work until like 5 o'clock. So I was working closing shifts a couple days out of the week. It was a part-time job, it wasn't full-time. 5:15 to 11 o'clock at night, which is not good, like in terms of like trying to get homework and stuff done, and just like trying to manage like that part of my life. It was very difficult. My GPA did drop my senior year significantly. At Bed Bath & Beyond, they would have 90-day reviews, and your 90-day review would depend on if you would get like a little bit of a raise or not. So every 90 days they would do a review for me. They would try to make sure that I would ask all of my questions at the register like I'm supposed to. I was required to say, if I can remember everything correctly, if I was ringing someone out, I would have to ask them if they're signed up for the coupons. If they're not, ask them if they would like to sign up. Every month there would be a push item next to the register. Sometimes it could be like a little a cleaning spray, or it could be like a cookie looking silicone trivet where you can put your pots and pans on so you don't have to put them directly on the counter. Stupid stuff like that. So we had to make sure we offered the push item for every transaction. You wouldn't get commission or anything from offering the push item, you just had to do it for every transaction. We would ask, are any of your items a gift or on a registry? That was very important to say, because that was a way to tell the customers that we also do gift registries in the store. So if you're interested, like we do wedding registries, you know, different things like that. We had to make sure that we asked all of those questions for every transaction. And that wasn't a problem. That was not a problem for me. My issue came from when it came time for my 90-day review. One of my managers, her name, I don't even know if I want to put her name out there. I'm gonna just call her Jay. Jay was very nasty. That was a nasty lady. She was very rude, very nasty. She was a white lady now, okay? This is important. Jay was just very hard on me for no reason. She basically said in my review, she's like, you're not asking your questions every time. I'm like, what are you talking about? I am asking all of my questions at the register every single transaction. What are you talking about? This is false. And the problem would be the managers would come up. Sometimes they would come up to you in the middle of your transaction, so they didn't get a chance to hear you ask all of your questions when they do decide to stand behind you and watch with their little clipboard. And so Julie would claim that I'm not asking all of my questions, and she would write me up for it. It's like, what can you do when you're being written up for something that you are legitimately not doing? What can you do? 18 years old with your first job, like what can you do? Like so inexperienced. And I remember like going home like crying after work because she was just so rude and just straight up lied about my performance. And it would happen every 90 days because if you failed your 90-day review, you would get another one in the next 90 days. And after a while, if you keep failing, then you're gonna get fired eventually. Long story short, it ended up getting to that point where she's like, if you don't pass like in the next like 60 days, we're gonna let you go. And at that point, I'm like, all right, bet. I'm gonna find a new job. And that's what I did. And that's when I started working at TJ Maxx. Hey guys, editing Dishon from now. One thing that I forgot to include into the story that is actually really important to the narrative, the reason why it became an issue for me failing my 90-day reviews is because after a while, there would be new people that came in after me that would start to work there that I would watch. I would watch them. They would not ask all of their questions at the register. They would not be doing everything that they needed to do. However, Julie would pass them and give them raises and would continue to lie on my reviews and say that I wasn't doing everything that I was supposed to do. And yes, those new people were of this color. So that's how I kind of came to the conclusion that she had some sort of issue with like, you know, just black employees in general, because I was also eventually not the only black employee there. There was another black girl that started to work there and she was kind of hard on her too. So it was a pattern that I was picking up on. All right, back to the story. And you know, TJ Maxx, I was there for a good, I was there for a little minute because I started kind of like moving up and getting more responsibility. I never became like an official key holder or anything like that. I was really good at getting the TJ Maxx credit cards. So they kept me up at the register and that was great because I hated being on the floor. I do not like being on the floor. People would come into the store, look at a t-shirt and just like throw it on the floor. And then I have to go behind you and pick it up? No. The register is very repetitive. Hi, how are you doing today? Did you find everything you were looking for? Okay, great. You have to ask every customer every time, would you like to sign up for our rewards credit card? You can save 10% off your purchase today. It got to the point where I even like memorized the announcements, bro. Like I can recite it to you right now. Good evening, TJ Maxx and home goods shoppers. Are you interested in saving 10% off your purchase today? Apply for the TJX Rewards credit card and save 10% upon approval. You'll also receive a 10% off coupon for every $200 you spend at TJ Maxx, Marshalls, and Home Goods. Start saving today at your local TJ Maxx and Home Goods. Why do I still know that? I can recite this shit in my sleep, and I years after, like, that's insane to me. That's how much like they really embedded the credit cards. I would say I would get maybe like 5 to 8 credit card signups a month, like no more than 10, which is great because you're still getting signups. But it got to a point where they were trying to exceed their goals, and it just wasn't realistic because you can't force people to sign up for freaking credit cards. Like, it's your credit at the end of the day. Like, nobody wants a credit card at no TJ Maxx. Like, be for real. But I ended up leaving TJ Maxx just because I wanted to make more money, and then 2, it got to a point where it started to become very toxic because we ended up getting like this Haitian manager that was extremely rude. We'll call him Woody, and that's pretty close to like his real government name. Woody would stand up at the register and be like a drill sergeant and like try to make sure that people were asking every single transaction if people wanted to sign up for the credit card. It got to the point where he was like, don't even tell them it's a credit card, just say it's a rewards card. Which is like false information. Like, would you like to sign up for our rewards card? Oh yeah, sign me up. What do you need? Like an email, phone number? Yeah, here's this form. Just, you know, fill out your social security number. And what? Wait, is this a credit card? Yeah, it's a credit card. Oh, no, I don't want it. Happen every time. I'm not gonna trick nobody. This is a credit card. Don't do that. Like, retail, no. One day that Woody was really rubbing me the wrong way, I really just wanted to distance myself from him because to me, he continued to cross the line and make me feel very uncomfortable. It got to the point where I really didn't even want to come to work. That's how uncomfortable he made me. There was one time I had got a credit card sign up and he was cheering me on. He was like, oh, see, we know you could do it. This is nothing new. I get credit card signups all the time. Why are we celebrating? Get out my face. He wanted to give me a fist bump, and I told him, no thank you, like, I'm good. And so he took it upon himself to fist bump my shoulder because I didn't want to fist bump him, and he touched me anyways. And I turned to him and I said, don't touch me. The whole line fell silent. You could hear a pin drop, and everybody was like looking at us like, the drama, like, it was embarrassing for him, at least. My managers were like, whoa, we've never seen him like this before, like, what's going on? So I ended up going into the office with Liz, Woody, and I think one other manager was back there, like, just, you know, mediating the whole thing. And they were basically like, all right, you know, let's talk this out. I ended up cussing him clean out. I was like, I can't even remember what I said. I was so angry. I actually found out that Woody got fired eventually. I don't know what he did. I think he threw something and he had like his own like bitch fit. I got my lick back. See, karma's a bitch. You can't play with me. You can't play with me because God don't play about me. Long story short, I ended up quitting that job. There was a health food store called Earth Fare. I was only there for like 3 months. Working in food, in general food prep, that's hard because I had to like chop vegetables and like make pizzas and stuff. It was like cooking mama on crack. I put in my 2 weeks at Earth Fare when I got hired at the spa, and there was a lot of drama with that because it just seemed like the assistant manager in the food department, her name was, I'll call her Susie. It seemed like she was very jealous that I was leaving, or I don't know. She was very bitter and petty about it. She took me off the schedule because she heard a rumor that I was going to call out my last 2 days of work, which was just not true. I don't know who made it up. We had like a work app where we communicated our shifts and stuff. She kicked me out of the app. I screenshotted the messages and I went to the store manager and I told her, I said, look, she had no reason to take me off the schedule. Someone spread a rumor that I was gonna call out. I don't know where they got that information from, but she's playing with my money. She needs to be written up or something about this because that is so unprofessional and unethical. I feel like I've let this sit on my face long enough. I'm gonna go ahead and rinse this off, and then we're gonna go in with our cleanser after that. Okay, so now that we watched the oil bomb off of my face, we're gonna go in with something I'm so excited to be using tonight. Shout out to You to the People for sending me some PR. I've never gotten gifting from them before, and this is a product that I've been meaning to try for a long time. This is their like top seller kale green tea spinach vitamins superfood cleanser. I've heard a lot of good things about this. I've never tried it for myself, so I'm going to be doing a first impressions pretty much tonight of this. If you guys want, I can do like a little mini review of it on my TikTok. So far, first impressions, it has like a very like gel-like consistency of it. So they sent me the full size and they sent me a travel size version. So I'm gonna have a lot to use. Ooh, I love how this feels. This feels like really smooth. To wrap up the Earth Fare drama, I ended up reporting Susie, and I'm pretty sure Susie got fired because whenever I would go in there to get food, I didn't see her anymore. Let this be a lesson for you that when you mess with me at a job, I will get my lick back one way or another, whether it comes from me or whether it comes from someone else. Like, God does not play about me, period, like in general. When I started working at the spa, I want to say, hands down, the spa was the most drama that I've ever experienced in a workplace ever. Ever, hands down. The spa, like, physically made me ill. Like, I looked at old videos of myself. I deleted my Snapchat not too long ago, but before I deleted it, I was looking at my memories and I saw a video of myself from behind at my desk, and I looked so skinny and like malnourished. But the spa had a lot of drama because a lot of people just did not stay there. Like, a lot of people would either quit or get fired. Girls not showing up for work. I don't know, they just did not hire the right people. Like, people just would book people, double book people, like, for no reason, and the technicians would get mad. That's where I used to get my Botox, was at the job that I used to work at. If you watch some of my older vlogs, like when I first started my channel, you may see like a little bit of that. That's where I also met Desiree. And Desiree can tell you, the spa was drama. When I was working there, we went through like 3 different general managers. They just kept being fired by the owners. I'm gonna be using my Foreo Luna 3 to massage the product into my face and to do like a gentle exfoliation process. To make a long story short, there was an assistant manager that was being hired on. We'll call her Lil Kim. So Lil Kim used to wax eyebrows at Ulta. She had no management experience just because she was like 40 or whatever. I don't know, there was definitely some ageism that happened with that, but she was very intimidated by me because whenever there was a problem, everybody would come to me and not her. And since she was the assistant manager, she got like a little bit of like jealous because she felt like people weren't respecting her authority. I mean, rightfully so, because at least I knew what I was doing. I had to teach her how to do her job. That's a problem. Like, I shouldn't have to do that. You might as well should have made me the goddamn assistant manager. She wanted to take responsibilities away from me so that she had more power. I was in charge of scheduling, so she wanted to take that from me. At first she wanted to share it. She's like, okay, I'll take the front desk receptionist and you take the call center receptionist and you handle their scheduling. And I made a compromise and I was like, okay, because she was begging to have like some sort of control over the schedule and the shifts. So as soon as I gave her the access to do it, she called herself trying to touch my schedule. I said, oh no ma'am, I make my schedule. I come in at this time. No ma'am, don't do that. Do not do that. Don't ever try to, girl, like she was doing too much and she was trying to test what she can get away with. I checked her every single time and she hated it. I kept my foot on that wrinkly 40-year-old neck. To make a longer story short, we would clock in on our phones through an app. I'm not gonna lie, some of the receptionists would take advantage of that and like be stealing time, like clock in when they're not there. For some of the people that were in management, that was allowed if you were actually working. With the old general manager, we would look at the emails. Like, I had access to the emails on my phone and I would clock in on my way to work because I lived across the street from where I worked, read the emails, answer the emails so that I don't have to do it when I walked into the office, and that was perfectly fine. The general manager didn't care. But when we got the new general manager and certain rules were changed, that wasn't one of the things that was addressed. Hi guys, editing Dishon again. There was one other thing that I'm gonna add in here. The reason why I'm jumping in is because there was a part of the story that I really wanna stress the importance of. I wasn't intentionally knowing that I was doing something in the wrong in this situation. Obviously with new management, they considered it stealing time. However, it was a pre-agreement with previous management that became routine after a certain point. So it was never brought up with new management like, hey, is this still okay? The reason why we established that in the first place was because the emails were equally as important as the voicemails that were left when people would cancel or reschedule their appointments, but the emails would go unanswered and nobody would check them, which would create like scheduling conflicts. So I made it my priority, and it was agreed with previous management, we need to be checking those emails first also. So a lot of times I would just get a head start on the emails because it wouldn't be enough time before we opened for me to also check that in the voicemails. So that's how we established all that. I hope that makes sense. Okay, back to the video. Lil Kim was trying to find something to get at me about. So she called herself trying to look at my timesheets. And she would also watch the security cameras, and she would even watch the security cameras when she wasn't working. She would watch them at home, and she would message people while she's at home off the clock, telling people to do things based on what she saw on the camera. Get a life. What is wrong with you? Get a life. Are you bored? Do you need a hobby? Do you need a man? Okay, so I am gonna go ahead and wash this off, and then we're gonna go in with our other steps after that. Okay, so after I wash that off, I'm gonna go in with a mask. I'm gonna be using the Peach and Lily Super Reboot Resurfacing Mask. This is in AHA and a BHA, so that's alpha hydroxy acid and beta hydroxy acid. This is a highly potent chemical exfoliant. Do not like scratch yourself or do anything harsh on your skin before you apply this on, because it will sting. Like I said, it penetrates very deeply into your skin, and it really does attack any rough texture that you have, and it also penetrates deep into your pores to attack any breakouts or even like pending breakouts that you may have. Now that we've reached the peak of my job history, I recently just got fired from my work from home job. If I were to describe my position, I would say I was like an assistant supervisor, basically. I was responsible for assisting the supervisor and their team. Whenever people would ask to speak to a supervisor, it was my job to speak to those people. So that was also part of my responsibility too. It was very, very demanding, and it required a lot of time and work. After a while, I didn't have work-life balance. It started to affect my channel. As you guys can probably tell, like if you were to count all the videos I posted so far in 2023, I have not been posting as much this year. This is like a blessing in disguise, because now I can get back into posting regularly and prioritizing my content, because I started to really like forget who the hell I am. The reason why I got fired was because the company was decreasing staff. I'm gonna tell you guys a story about kind of what led up to this. There was a girl that I started to become very friendly with. We'll call her Sharika, because she was Jamaican, so like Sharika Jackson. Me and Sharika started to get very friendly. I wouldn't say like close or anything like that, because I have very strict boundaries when it comes to like coworkers. Like I just wouldn't speak to people outside of work. Like it was just not my thing to do. She was a single mom, and she would always talk about how she has no friends and she never goes out to do anything, and eventually just started to feel really bad for her, because she just seemed like a sweet girl. She seemed like a pretty like, you know, decent person. I was this close to inviting her out to eat, and thank God I didn't. She opened up to me about how she faced racial discrimination when she first started working there. She was basically telling me how she was accused of some stuff that she didn't do, and when the company launched an investigation into the alleged acts, they didn't find anything. And she felt very discriminated against, because it's like, why me as a black woman am I being looked into when I'm not doing anything wrong, when there's white people that are also doing just as well as me and nobody's talking about them. And so that's how the relationship between me and her started to like become on a personable basis, because I also was facing some discrimination and just some things that I felt were like just blatant racism and microaggressive. I started to open up to her about some of those experiences. Every now and then we would text each other about, you know, certain things that would happen to us. And there was one day, and I told her, I said, hey, I'm gonna text you something, like something happened, I need to text you. She's like, okay, great. Like she knew it was gonna be some tea. So I text her, and I was just venting to her about upper white people that were making some decisions and like doing some conniving stuff behind the scenes and basically trying to block me out of certain positions. She decided to screenshot my text messages, and she sent it to not just HR, she sent it to the CEO of the company, she sent it to the people that I was talking about in the text message, she sent it to everybody. She sent it to everybody. Unprovoked, out of nowhere, unprovoked, out of nowhere, for no reason. I did nothing to her. I was just like, OMG. She did what? Huh? One thing about me, I can always predict your next move, and that I did not see coming. She didn't include what she said in the text messages, but she screenshotted only what I said and sent it to all of them people. And long story short, ended up getting written up for it. They could have fired me, I guess, but they were like, since you're so important, like, we're not gonna fire you, blah, whatever. And I told them, I was like, I wasn't just talking to myself in those messages. She was also equally competent and talked mad shit about the same people and also other people. And I could have easily showed them the text messages, but I didn't. God didn't want me to do that. It just felt like, had I done that, it would have involved even more people, and it probably would have made the situation like even more messy. I knew they were going to be using that eventually to try to get me out. And I've never been written up for anything, ever. I've never had any issues, but they escalated it to a final warning. So then later on, I want to say maybe like a couple months later, the company announced that they were going to be downsizing and reducing staff. And so when they were looking at the assistant supervisors, they looked at me and they're like, oh, well, he's on a final written, so we're just going to get rid of him. So that's basically what happened. The reason why I was let go was because of reducing staff. But because they probably had whatever personal issues that they had with me based on those text messages, that's what they had to disguise it as. Corporate America, what can you do about it? I was very disappointed that another black woman would do that to me. That's why we say all skin folk is not kinfolk, because these people will betray you. Why would you send that to the CEO of the company? You're really trying to get me out of there. I low-key think she like dabbled in witchcraft, because even the day after that, I felt physically and spiritually disturbed. And that's another thing too, because I spoke to someone else about it and they were like, oh my God, I think she does witchcraft too. These people, you have to be really careful, even with coworkers. You have to be so careful with who you talk to, who you trust. I learned a very valuable lesson to just be strict with my boundaries. But it also came off as if like someone else put her up to do that. Like she was like plotting with someone else behind the scenes. At the end of the day, mama, you black too, and they don't want you there either. They don't want you there either. So all what you're trying to do to look like you're the token and all this, if they want to get rid of you, they gonna get rid of you too. I'm gonna let this sit on my face for a little while longer, and then I'm gonna wash this off, and then we'll get into more topics. Okay, so I am back. I just washed all of that mask off. I let it sit for like a good minute. I want to say I probably had it on for like a good 20-25 minutes. But now after I wash that off, I'm gonna go ahead and use some toner. I'm gonna use some cotton pads that I got from Walgreens, and I'm gonna use, well, the first toner I'm gonna use, because I'm gonna layer, I'm gonna use my Good Molecules Glycolic Exfoliating Toner. This is what I like to use at night. I'm literally almost out. I'm gonna have to mix. So I'm probably just gonna end up mixing this and also mixing my niacinamide toner too as well, because I don't think I'm gonna have enough product to like really soak in this one cotton pad. As a young black gay professional in their 20s in the corporate world, it is not going to be an easy journey. It's not. You will often face a lot of criticism. Every place that I've worked, it doesn't matter whether it's retail, food service, corporate, I always have an opponent. Always. It's always somebody trying to compete with me. At the end of the day, I'm never gonna walk around and act like I know everything. I do not know everything. I do not have all the answers, nor do I want to come off that way either. And I feel like because when I do get to a point where I start to know things, people don't like that. People don't like when you pick up on things quicker than they do. They see you passing them up and they're like, well, who does he think he is? Ageism, a lot of isms are at play with that, right? Even when I worked at the goddamn spa, I had a 40-year-old lady pressed at me? I'm half your age and you want to compete with me? I generally just don't understand the hateration in the dancery. Trust and believe, even outside of work, in life in general, if you've ever said anything negative about me, I know about it. I just act like I don't. I can't let you know that I'm on to you. I have to play the long game. I have to see, you know, what all I can do to kind of like de-escalate whatever situation, whatever one-sided beef that you have. I have to figure out how to like keep myself safe. So that's why I don't immediately be jumping at people. I used to be very confrontational, but I'm not anymore. It's really sad because, like I said, I'll be very friendly with someone and then all of a sudden I find out that they hate my guts. Why? I liked you. I thought you liked me. I guess not. It's very disappointing and it hurts my feelings. Every single time, it doesn't matter where I work, every single time there's always somebody doing this. always just doing too much of that and not enough working. Do your damn job and go home. I would say I'm outspoken. I think that's one thing that people like and also dislike about me. I'm the type of person, if I'm in a meeting and someone's like, okay, any questions? I have a question. Me, hi, I have a question. Not always. I don't always have something to say. That's also another contrary to popular belief. Everybody always think I got something to say all the time. I actually don't. There are times in which I really don't have anything to say. And then people are looking at me like, don't you have something to say? And like, not this time. And it'd be throwing people off. And like, what? You always got something to say. No, I don't. I think that's another thing that people don't like about me because they don't know what to expect. Like people swear up and down that they can clock my tea and be like, oh yeah, I know what he's gonna do next. No, you don't. No, you don't. Okay, so next we're gonna get into some of my fun products that I like to put on for my nighttime skincare routine. I've been trying out this new essence from Bao Laboratory. It is their Helios Ginseng Ferment Essence. So this is something that you can easily pump into your hands and dab it onto your skin. So I like to use about 4 pumps of that. My neck is like the first thing that I moisturize when it comes to like my serums and stuff. I actually want to do a little bit more. I like kind of bathe in this stuff low-key. The whole purpose of an essence is to prep your skin for the other serums that you're gonna put on top of it. But next I'm gonna go in with my Paula's Choice Niacinamide Booster Serum. This is 10% niacinamide, also has vitamin B3 and B5. It's suitable for all skin types and it helps with brightening and evening your skin tone. And that almost went in my eye. OMG, OMG. So I know that we just like talked about a lot of stuff. For those of you that are concerned, I am fine. You know, like life just has a funny way of working out. God works in mysterious ways. You know, opportunities are always there. When one door closes, like 5 others open. So far with like the extra free time that I've had lately, I've been able to touch base with my family, like people that I haven't talked to in so long because I've just been so caught up with life. Like I talked to my papa today, like my mom's dad, my grandpa. I talked to him today. I haven't talked to him in like, oh my gosh, like so long. I can't even remember the last time I talked to papa. And it made me realize like I actually have more support than I realize. I'm not alone, even though I spend 99% of every day alone. Like I'm always alone and I prefer to be alone. I don't mind. I actually function better being alone. But you know, sometimes I can kind of trick myself into like thinking that, you know, I don't really have extra support or, you know, nobody really cares about anything that I go through. So that's why I just keep a lot to myself. I be fooling myself like actually people do care and people would prefer for you to reach out. It's just not in my nature to do so, if that makes sense, which is something that I need to work on personally. So the last 2 products I'm gonna put on my skin is the HENRIKSEN Strength Peptide Booster Moisturizer. This is like probably like my all-time favorite nighttime moisturizer that I've been using. And I like to mix this with my retinol serum from The Ordinary. This is the retinol 0.5%. But it's also mixed with squalane, so it's not a pure retinol. Keep in mind, if you are on a retinol, you need to be wearing SPF during the day so that it doesn't have any side effects long term with making your skin like extra sensitive, irritation, things like that. But I mix all that together and I pat that onto my skin. I need to get a little bit more because I didn't put any on my neck. Never ever ever forget your neck, because that's the first thing that's gonna look crazy when you get older. Now that I have a fresh face and I'm all done with all that, I'm actually gonna go change into some comfortable night clothes and then we're gonna wrap up this video. I ain't gonna lie, y'all, I am super tired. It's like 1:30 in the morning. I don't know why like I end up filming so late sometimes when I do nighttime content. But yeah, just to kind of wrap up everything that we talked about today, one thing I can say is you should always pray about the situation because it always brings you clarity and God be showing you signs. I don't know if I mentioned it, but I knew I was gonna get let go. Like I had so many signs that were being shown to me the whole week, like the whole week that it happened. So my faith is very strong. I know that I'm gonna be okay. I know I'm gonna be supported. I have so many positive things that are coming my way right now. There's no negativity at all in my life whatsoever. Like the last bit of negativity that was bringing me down, which is my job, that's been excavated, that's eradicated, it's gone, it's done with. And I'm blessed to be open and available for new opportunities and new things. That's just kind of like where my mindset is on right now. And I'm glad that I get to reprioritize things that are actually important to me, like my content. I feel like the timing, everything it's not a coincidence. Like, this is literally God's plan. Couldn't be more thankful of that. And I'm even more thankful for you guys for even continuing to tune into my content, like even on Instagram, just everywhere. The DMs that you guys send me on Instagram are so encouraging and so funny. This is just a great time period in my life right now, and I just couldn't be more thankful. And that concludes today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you're new or if you're not new, and if you want to binge watch any more of my videos, go ahead and click the playlist above that says more from Dishon. If you're interested in any of the products, all of them will be linked down below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, turn on my post notifications so you don't miss out on any videos. Follow me on all my platforms at King Dishon, and I will see y'all in the next video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you later.